First, I want to acknowledge you for taking the time to be here. I know what it takes to slow down, even for a few minutes, especially if your life is full, people rely on you, and you're used to handling things without stopping. Now, there's usually a reason you clicked something like this. Not because everything is falling apart and not because your life is out of control, but because something does not feel quite right. You have not lost your ability, you have not lost your discipline, but you are not operating from the same place anymore, and you can feel that even if you have not said it out loud. Now, you might not be able to even explain it clearly, and it shows up in moments. You sit down to do something simple and it takes longer than it should. You read something and halfway through you realize you were not fully there. You finish a full day and instead of feeling done, your mind keeps going. Work might feel heavier than it used to. Same job, same expectations, same responsibility, but it does not feel the same internally. Most people assume this is just part of life at a certain level. They normalize it, adapt to it, and push through it because they can, but what you are feeling is not random and it is not permanent. If that sounds familiar, stay with me. What I'm going to walk you through is not theory, it is something you already experienced. You have just not seen it clearly yet. As you listen, do not try to analyze every word, just track yourself and ask one question. Do I see myself in this? And if you do, you'll know. Most people dealing with this do not look like they are struggling. From the outside, everything looks fine. You are working, showing up, handling your responsibilities, and if someone looked at your life, they would probably say you are doing well. That is exactly why this gets missed, because you are doing well, but you are not operating the same way you used to. There was a time where you could sit down and just start. No delay, no hesitation, no internal negotiation. You moved and it felt clean. Now there's a gap. It is a small one, but it is consistent. You hesitate, you check something, you come back, and you still get it done, but it takes more out of you than it should. That is not burnout, and it is not lack of discipline. That is the beginning of drift, and most people do not catch it at this stage. Most people try to label it. They tell themselves they're just tired, that they need a break, or that they need to be more disciplined. And if that were true, rest would fix it and discipline would eliminate it. But it does not, because you are not broken. You are still showing up, still executing, still doing what needs to be done, and the difference is that you are not operating from the same internal state. Look at a real day. You wake up and for a moment things feel clear, you know what needs to get done, and there is direction. Then the day starts, messages come in, emails stack up, conversations pull your attention, and decisions start to layer. None of these are major on their own, but they are constant. Each one takes a small piece of attention, each one leaves something open, each one pulls you slightly from where you started. By midday, you are still moving and still producing, but you are not sharp as you were in the morning. This is where it gets honest. You are still moving, but you feel slightly behind inside your own day. Not behind on results, but behind on clarity. By the end of the day, everything is done, but your mind is not. You keep replaying, planning, and reopening things that should feel closed. That is not burnout. That is accumulation. Nothing is broken, but something is getting in the way. Think about how many times your attention gets pulled in a single day. You are working, something interrupts you, you come back, but you do not come back fully. A piece of your attention is still sitting with what just happened. That happens over and over again, and each time it feels small, almost insignificant, but together it builds into something that changes how you feel and how you operate. That is how drift works, and that is not dramatic and it is not obvious. It builds gradually through accumulation and fragmentation. So what do? You push harder, you try to focus more, you compensate. It works temporarily, but it costs more energy than it should. You are still capable, but it is no longer clean, and that difference matters. You have felt this. You're sitting there. You know exactly what needs to be done, and there is a delay. Not because you're lazy, but because it feels heavier than it should. So you push, you get it done, and you move forward. But it costs more, and over time, that becomes your normal state. This is where something deeper starts to happen. You begin to trust yourself less. You second-guess simple decisions. You feel like you should be sharper, but you are not. Not because of you are incapable, but because something is interfering with how you are addressing yourself. Most people respond by adding more discipline, more structure, and more pressure. That does not remove the weight. It just teaches you how to carry it better. People don't all arrive here the same way. For some, it builds through pressure, more responsibility, more decisions, no real reset point, and over time, your system never fully comes back down. You stay in a constant state of managing without ever fully clearing. For others, it builds through habits. The end of the day becomes the only time you feel relief, so you reach for something to shut it off, not because you lack discipline, but because you need distance from the weight you've been carrying all day. For others, it comes through performance. You're always pushing, always optimizing, always looking for the next level, but internally you never feel finished. You don't get that sense of completion anymore. And for a lot of people, it's not just one of these, it's a combination. Pressure, habits, performance environment, all stacking over time. Different paths, same outcome. You're still functioning, you're still producing, but internally, something feels off. And that's the part most people ignore, because from the outside, everything still looks fine. Clarity is not something you build. It is something you return to. There was a version of you that moved clean, decided quickly, and did not hesitate, and that version did not disappear. It simply got covered. Covered by noise, pressure, and accumulation. Covered by constant input and unresolved attention. And if it got covered, it can be uncovered. That is the shift, not adding more, but removing what is in the way. When that starts to happen, decisions become cleaner, movement becomes simpler, and the weight you have been carrying begins to feel proportionate again. If you recognize yourself in this, please pause for 1 second. Because most people spend years trying to fix the surface without ever addressing what is underneath. And the longer that continues, the more it compounds. What feels small now becomes normal later, and once it becomes normal, you stop questioning it. That's where people stay stuck. So at this point, you have a decision to make. You can leave this as awareness and go back to your routine, or you can take the next step right now. And there are two options available to you immediately. Option 1. If you want to understand this deeper before making a decision, there's a longer session right below this where you can click in, where I break down exactly what's happening, how this interference is being created, and what it actually takes to remove it. Go through that fully. Don't skim it. That's your next layer of clarity. Option 2. If you already know, if you've seen enough and you're done imagining this at a surface level, you can move forward now. You can either book a clarity call with me, and we'll walk through your situation directly to determine if this is a right fit for both sides. Or if you're ready, you can click the Enroll button and begin onboarding with the next available cohort. Both options are here right now, available to you. And the only question is whether you're going to act on what you see, because once you see this clearly, it becomes very difficult to go back to ignoring it. This is not about becoming someone new. It is about removing what is in the way so you can operate at the level you already know is there.